Hello. This week we will be diving into the idea of building a classroom culture. This supplemental instruction is to introduce you to a framework to help us discuss the idea. If you have any questions or concerns, please feel free to jot them down and email them to me when they pop up. The objectives for this lesson are to introduce you to a framework for classroom management and have you focus on earning the trust of the students. Here's the framework. There are 7 tenets of a healthy classroom, and they're organized into these 3 principles: teacher and student knowledge, the social context of the classroom, and authentic disciplinary work. Teacher and student knowledge includes these tenets. Teacher, know thyself. Know your students and earn their trust. Avoid hypocrisy and decrease microaggressions, judgments, and grudges. The social context of the classroom is influenced by these tenets: creating a physically and emotionally safe classroom and developing rituals, procedures, and processes that make sense to the students. Authentic disciplinary work includes epistemic practices and the content-specific pedagogy as it relates to providing students with opportunity to solve authentic problems. For this week, the tenets that will be helpful for us to focus on are highlighted in bold. As you do the readings, think about the importance of knowing what assets you bring to the classroom. All of you have a level of content expertise, can engage in some sort of level of inquiry, and connect your own culture, language, and experiences with those of the students. We will be discussing ways to get to know the students and understand the many different ways students express their culture in the way they socialize, talk, and problem solve. As you get to know the students, it will be easy to decrease the instances of microaggressions between students and between teacher and student. Misunderstandings and miscommunications happen when we do not understand the points of views of students. Most of the time, students are negotiating us, much like you negotiate me as a professor. Students need clarity. They need to be able to ask questions, and they need to be able to share their challenges. But none of this is personal and should be seen as a source of inquiry. We will be revisiting the concept of epistemic practices as tools to facilitate the learning in our case studies. Remember that epistemic practices are routines and procedures based on the disciplinary norms of the subject matter. We use them in the classroom to teach content. Having a mastery of the epistemic practices actually supports students trusting the teacher to be able to teach them. Finally, teachers go out of the way to create a physically and emotionally safe classroom. This entails being sensitive about who is in the room, including students' points of view in the curriculum in positive ways, and supporting student-to-student understanding. Teacher, know thyself is an essential tenet for teacher and student knowledge. Teachers come into the classroom with many assets, and it is through the assets that they can make authentic, productive relationships with students. As a teacher, you have to be aware of how you problem solve, how you think, and how this could be a leverage when creating lesson plans and addressing student concerns in the moment. You want to present yourself as an elder and pull your presence from your cultural knowledge. I often ask my candidates, who is the person who garners the most respect in your family? This is the person you draw strength and wisdom from when the kids need it most. Finally, you need to get to know the students, at least a strength, an academic challenge, and a hobby. If you have more information before they enter into the room, collect that too. Community building is heavily influenced by how well we can create physically and emotionally safe classrooms. Students need to know that you will step in when they are overwhelmed and notice when they are uncomfortable or scared. You will toe the line when it comes to name calling, bullying, and other forms of harassment between students. This is why the presence of an elder is very important. An emotionally and physically safe classroom includes teaching students how to be collaborative and cooperative with one another. This will help them learn that their informed opinions and thoughts are valuable, that it's okay to be wrong, that we learn from failure, and that everyone should and can contribute. This way of community building helps folks avoid groupthink, the phenomenon where people tend to conform with group decisions to avoid feeling like an outcast. When we embrace the diversity of the students and see ourselves as contributors to that diversity, then ideas, problems, and solutions are robust. When we force folks to think alike, then you end up being tied to bad ideas longer. When you have a variety of ideas to pull from, there are varieties of solutions to try out. Getting to know the students, who they are, and their assets is about building a respectful, fair, and caring learning environment. Knowing the strengths and challenges and assets of students keeps it in our minds that they are human beings worthy of our respect and care. When we forget this simple fact, our classrooms become chaotic and unproductive. Share a bit of yourself, be an elder in the classroom, and protect them socially and emotionally. The children are worth it.